he was like, you play the gay kid, but you're also a bully. And I was like, sign me up. I would love to do that, to play the gay bully.
Welcome to Couch Surfing, the show where jawsome guests look back at their big roles, their little roles, and everything in between. I'm here social distancing with Andrew Rannells. Andrew, you liked jawsome, didn't you?
You really snuck that in there.
I snuck it in there.
Well done. Well done. Jawsome.
Are you ready to surf?
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm scared. I'm excited and scared.
Tall, blue, and jawsome.
So long before Sharknado, there were Street Sharks starring the voice of a baby Andrew Rannells. This was
but
your first?
It's odd to me that I think I was 15 and my speaking voice still sounds the same. So I don't know what that says about my hormone levels.
How did you land this gig?
It's a weird story. So in Omaha, where I'm from, it's where, the land of Warren Buffett.
Right.
And Warren Buffett's daughter, Susie Buffett, was a big supporter of like the local arts scene, and somehow had this connection with some executives at a company called DIC, that made Saturday morning cartoons in like the 80s and 90s. Okay. And she suggested, she was like, there's a big theater scene in Omaha, and they're all non-union, which I didn't know what that meant at 15. But so they were like, I think this might be a good place for you to come and find some new talent. So they did. And then that opened up a door. I did several series for them over the years, and even into my time in New York when I was still in college. So it ended up being a real good gig.
All right, up next.
Oh boy.
I believe.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how terrified were you to perform at the Tonys?
I didn't really allow myself to think about it until like 30 seconds before I was doing it. And then I was standing backstage. All of the rehearsals had gone very smoothly. But then Nikki M. James from the Book of Mormon won a Tony Award for her performance right before I did this. Oh. So then I was like kind of crying backstage because I was so happy for her, but like knew that I had to go do this thing. And so it hit me live on television in front of tens of people, or however many people watch the Tonys. But no, I was nervous. I was very nervous.
Right, let's keep surfing.
Okay.
I didn't say I love you. I know, but I know you were thinking it.
Oh, man.
This
is a sad one.
I know. But this scene is really powerful and just so important. Talk to me about what it was like for you to shoot this for network television.
I felt so grateful, particularly as a gay man, to get to tell those stories, because we got to do a lot of very broad, very silly things on that show. And yet then Ryan would come to us and be like, I think we need to talk about this. But within the shape of a half-hour comedy, felt just like a really, really unique experience. And I think a lot of people have said like they think it was maybe a little before its time. We only ran for one season.
Well, I was going to ask you that, because on paper, this should have worked. You've got Ryan Murphy, you, Ellen Barkin, Nene Leakes, a woke concept for the time. Why only one season?
I don't know. I just think that people, I don't know. I don't want to say they weren't ready to see it, because we certainly had a very loving fan base. It just wasn't quite the massive, I think, hit that we kind of all hoped it would be. I really don't know what happened there, but I love doing it, and I love getting to tell that story. I'll get messages from people, especially from young people, saying that they found it and they've been watching it now, and that means a lot to me, that it still sort of exists in the world, especially for young people.
All right, up next.
This fruity little voice that you've put on
Excuse me?
is a new thing.
Fruity little voice.
I cannot get enough of this moment. How much of this was scripted and how much was improvised?
About half of it was improvised. Wow. It was initially just one scene. This is the first time I ever spoke dialogue on camera. I was still in the Book of Mormon at the time. They asked me to come play. It was one episode. It was this one scene. And the scene ended sort of, midway. But then Lena and I, who didn't really know each other, just like kept escalating the conflict. And Judd Apatow was there that day, who was our executive producer, and Lena was directing the episode and also wrote it. And so just allowed me to just start running my mouth at her. And there was just something, I remember as we were doing it, I was like, this feels really fun and really special that she and I just like got on board. And I remember Judd whispered in my ear at one point, he was like, because the show hadn't come out, this is the first season. So he was like, do you know who Peter Scolari is, the actor? And I said, yes. And he was like, okay, well, he plays Hannah's father. So just come up, like, does that mean anything to you? So I was like, okay. So that's what I improvised the line that your dad is gay.
Welcome back to Couch Surfing. I'm still here with Andrew Rannells. Andrew, shall we continue?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hey, I need you for 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Nancy Meyers has created some of the best visual candy in cinema history. I mean, did you guys just thumb through Elle Decor and Architectural Digest when you weren't filming?
She had, I think it was at this time, there was a partnership with One Kings Lane for that set in particularly.
Yes.
So everything was beautiful and everything was lovely. And I just would like wander around and pick things up and be like, how much was this? What does this do? But I actually just got to direct for the first time, and Nancy was so helpful and has made herself like very accessible to me, it's very sweet. And we've actually become friends since that film. She's a great lady, and her house is as beautiful as you'd think it would be.
Is it all beige and creams and sumptuous cashmere?
Yeah. And just beautiful, and just where I want to live.
All right, up next.
I love hanging out with you.
Jesse, I feel the same way about you.
You do?
I love getting to do this show so much, getting to do Big Mouth. Yeah.
Did you audition? Were you approached to play Matthew? How did this come together?
I was approached to play Matthew by Nick Kroll.
Okay.
I hadn't done any animated work in a long time, but was something that I wanted to get back into. And then these scripts were just so filthy and hilarious, but then still weirdly sweet at times, like still a lot of heart in them. And I was like, I don't know how these people are pulling this off, but I really want to be a part of it. So
it was a big deal earlier this summer when Jenny Slate announced she would no longer be portraying Missy, a character of color on the show. Were you at all surprised by this?
When you're doing these animated things, it takes like a year for them to come out. So I didn't know what anyone looked like I knew what Matthew looked like. Right. And I don't know if she knew, to be honest. Like, I don't know if that was a conversation or if that was something that happened, later. I don't know. But I think she handled that very gracefully.
Yeah, she did. All right, up next.
I'm the guy from the floor with the cocaine.
This show, first of all, that scene, laugh out loud, funny. And this is the definition of an all-star ensemble. What is it like between takes? It's everybody doing cracks in Don Cheadle's dressing room.
Well, this was the day this was during the pilot, and this is when I knew that I was in love with Regina Hall.
Yes.
So, I knew that I was going to, but I remember this day in particular, I was like, I'm forcing a friendship with that woman, whether she likes it or not. I will be with her forever.
What was it about her?
I don't know. She asked me if I would marry her after when we wrapped the pilot. And then I was like, yes, if this show gets picked up, I think we should get married. And we joked about the press will be so confused. No, she's just so funny and she's so generous. And the thing that I love about, this whole cast is wonderful. Regina, I think, is just very special to me because it doesn't matter what time of day it is. It could be 5 a.m. when we're showing up, or it could be 2 a.m. on a long night. She maintains the same level of joy and commitment. Aww. It doesn't matter.
Up next.
I am so sick of this. Let's be faithful.
When you hear the names that are going to be involved in this project, do you automatically say yes?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. When the lineup started coming in, it was well, obviously, I'm saying yes to this. Of course, this is going to be a thing. But we did 2 readings before we did the Broadway show, just to sort of an exploratory mission to see, like, is it still relevant? Does it seem dated? And immediately, I think everyone knew, oh, it's not dated. And even though it was written in 1968, there's a lot that we're still talking about today. And it was also a lot funnier than I think we all thought. I mean, yes, things get dark, and obviously that clip is like, things are getting ugly. But there's a lot of love in the story, and there's some really funny moments in it too. And
there's a lot of forgiveness as well.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you treat people you're closest to the worst. Yes. Unfortunately. And I think, for my character, who really just tortures his boyfriend, right, in just a really thoughtless way, but ultimately, he's so in love with them that he's scared. He's scared of what that means. So it was really fun to do, but we had some good laughs on that set.
Andrew, thank you so much for surfing by. The Boys in the Band is available to stream on Netflix now. See you next time on Couch Surfing. Bye.